It's good to see everybody. Missy, Miss Kristen, Michelle, Rayling, Joyful Mom, Kara. Hey, this is fun. Let's see. So, questions. Arrow said, I came here to scroll for the answer before finding the post, but I'm working on a lesson planning for the rest of the year. Just realized there are only 18 lessons in language lessons, but 36 in all the other subjects. So what do we do when we finish halfway through the year? Good question. And Kristen is also part of this. So, hey, Kristen, you can reply in this as well. Language Lessons 1 is actually designed to be a one-semester course. So our scope and sequence would be you start Foundation Phonics at the first half, and then you transition into Language Lessons 1. I think you got a good answer. Tim and Steph answered that you could either focus on reading comprehension, fluency, sight words, blends, diagraphs, or you could move into Language Lessons 2 if you wanted to. So I would say definitely it would depend on how well you feel the student is doing with Language Lessons 1. Yes, as Kristen said, there's also a schedule to spread it across for a full year. I think the idea is you don't want to push too heavy into level 2 because there's still a lot of development going on, and so you want to really strengthen up and shore up those skills. Would that be right, Kristen? All right, so that we'll let Kristen, if there's any more that needs to be answered to that, but the schedule for a full grade 1 year, if you didn't do it in a half, the first year is there too. Let's see, 5 Acre Woods, we got some more, okay. Let's see, Cindy said, I'd love to know your takes on using masterbooks for year-round schooling and also schedule-related but different block schooling. How would you sit to work on one subject at a time if you wanted to, say language, math, and alternating days? I have not done block scheduling. I know Kristen has experimented a little bit with it. Like I would do block scheduling, I don't know. I should have Kristen here today. As far as year-round homeschooling, you're the carpenter, and use masterbooks as the tool and what works best for your family. I definitely think that it's very tough for our kids to transition out. And Kristen has done schooling throughout the year, like just a little bit. Sometimes that's harder because sometimes you just need the break, right? You're like, oh, we're done. But there are other times where she's done just trickled and done a little bit through the year because it's hard for them to transition off of summer break because they're not like, hey, it's the first day of school, get on the bus. It's more like, hey, go up to the schoolroom and start doing school. So for some families, it's just easier once you have momentum going and it's in the habit to just kind of keep that going a little bit at a time and just reducing the amount that you do and not, or giving yourself a little bit more freedom to do supplements and add-ons. Desiree says, we found that math and language arts doesn't work well for block scheduling. I'll let Desiree elaborate on that in the group because I really don't know as much about block scheduling as I do the goal setting. A lot of the education system we went to, we transferred into an ACE School of Tomorrow system, and the way they did it is every day there were daily goals. And you set the goals as a student. Like you knew, hey, I need to complete one book every week. So I take it through, or every 2 weeks. So I look through and I see that there's 30 pages. In order to complete 30 pages, I need to do 3 pages a day. And so I would set Monday 1 to 3 pages, Tuesday 4 to 6. And then I would have a full week worth of goals. And then at the end of that time, I would do, we would cross those goals off. So I did pages 1 to 3 on Monday, I crossed the goal off. And that helped kind of teach us how to set goals, accomplish our goals, and then have the reward of crossing off the goal. And so we did that. There were 5 or 6 subjects every day that we would do that with. So that was the system that I'm most familiar with and that transferred well into my adulthood as well, for the most part. Mentally, maybe. Aniston, any chance to bring foreign language to the academy? Aniston, I am so glad you asked that question. In fact, because that question was asked, I'm going to give you 2,500 reward points So I got to write your name down. Okay. And the reason that I'm happy you're asking that question is, yes, we actually have a Spanish for Families course coming. The instructor is very qualified to teach this course, extremely qualified to teach this course. And this course will be like none other because it's actually going to be family-based, right? Like so many Spanish curriculums are, here's try to learn some Spanish. And then maybe the kids learn one or two words. I think my kids learned where's the baño or something. And then that was, but it's because it's not applied, right? And the masterbooks method is taking that knowledge and applying it. And so her approach is going to be kind of if she came into your home and began teaching your entire family, Spanish. And then you could use the words, or maybe you could cook a meal using Spanish only and things like that. And so that will probably be available. In fact, I know it'll be available in 2022. It's in process right now, and she's doing it. And I'm extremely excited about what she's going to put together for everybody. So that is absolutely there. Michelle, help me with time management. I have 3 girls, 1 in high school this year. The other 2 combined mostly. I'm realizing my oldest due to learning disabilities and severe dyslexia needs a ton of help no matter what levels I adjust her to, and video instruction isn't easy. I think you added to it, Michelle. I wanted to add something, maybe tips or tricks to help students work more independently with their learning. Again, this would be a good one to have Kristen here with me today. I think it is challenging when you're working with a special needs student because it can take so many resources, so much energy to work with that student. Sometimes the other students can get not as much or even left kind of behind in the process. So I think you have to be a little bit intentional about that. But students can work very individually with masterbooks. And I think you can adapt to your homeschool to meet the needs of your family as it's happening. You can work together to do some things. You can create, choose courses that allow for independence. Like some courses are awesome when you hear about them at a convention, but then it's like they're so complicated. Well, in a case like this, you could do America's history or America's story. You could do that as a family, right? Because if you have a special needs student who's older, it would be easy. We could do this as a read aloud as a family. Then the younger students can go and do their books, and so we can hit that all at once. And then with the older student, we can do narration or some of the work themselves. Like you've got to just be creative and try a little bit of growth hacking. I think the other thing is, and that I know for myself personally, with having a special needs situation is being able to let go of the expectations, maybe even grieving the expectations you have for your students, that our homeschool is going to be a little bit different because of the way we operate, right? We have to adjust. But that's not a bad thing either. It's not like you have to make an exception and everybody's losing out, because in life we make exceptions. Right? Like I'm on teams where some teams excel in one area, but in other areas maybe they don't excel as much. Or sometimes I've been on teams where the team is stronger than one individual. But what was kind and what was right was for the whole team to work together as a team. The success of the family depends on everybody working together. And if they don't work together, the family can't survive and thrive. So when you look at that, like with your kids, okay, we do this together. Like this is not mom against you. This is not mom having to figure it all out. As a family, we come together to do our education, to school, and kind of get that concept that it's not just you trying to manage them, it's you working as a team with them, and maybe even making some of the other kids part of that process, right? So just, hey, we're all in this together, and so we're going to work together to accomplish that. So I see we've got some really good feedback coming in. I think that's awesome. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Julia, my second grader wants to know if there will ever be a My Story 3. He went through My Story 1 last year and is doing My Story this year and loves them. Side note, he says if there isn't going to be a third one, he's going to write it when he grows up. I think that's awesome, Julia. Right now, we don't have a My Story 3 in the works because it goes to the scope and sequence would be My Story K 1, 2, then to America's Story 1, 2, and 3. So we don't have anything on the books yet for a My Story 3, but I love hearing that, and I love hearing that he's inspired to write. Isn't that awesome? And he doesn't have to wait till he grows up to write one. He could begin writing the My Story 3 right now. So, let's see. Man, you guys are making good comments here. Laura, thank you for the good reminder. Team, felt like I was on the battleground against one of my kids this morning. Yeah. Like, sometimes you almost need to remind yourself and them, I'm here for you. Like, I'm here doing this so you are smarter, so you will be able to pay your bills, so you will be able to find a spouse, so you will have opportunities in your life. Like, I'm doing you the favor, you're not doing me the favor by sitting here. Let's see, Laura, heard astronomy might be coming as part of the Master's Class Science series. If so, do you think this will be a 2022 release? Thank you. Probably not, Laura. I think it's getting, we have it on the books, but we already have the astronomy course that's available, that utilizes a lot of Jason Lyle's materials. And so the Masterclass course will be coming, but because of some higher level courses that we have and some other projects that need to be done, that one will probably be later in 2022 if it's released in 2022. Jennifer, for pre-algebra, should principles of mathematics 1 and 2 be used in year 1 or 2? Principles of mathematics 1 and 2 combined are a good pre-algebra. I would say what you'd want to know is what grades are they in? Like if they're in 7th grade, then just do 7th and 8th grade normally, and then into algebra, the two of them would equal that. If you're talking about maybe a 9th grade student who needs pre-algebra, then if the student is capable, I would recommend combining 7th and 8th as a pre-algebra fundamentals of math or arithmetic course, and then moving into algebra. So it kind of depends on where the student is, whether the student is a 9th grade student or are they a 7th and 8th grade student. If they're 8th grade student and they can handle it to do a pre-algebra, then you may want to combine it there. If not, then my recommendation would be do Principles of Math 1 in 8, Principles of Math 2 in 9 as kind of your pre-algebra course, and then algebra in 10. Laura, yes, I would stick with the current astronomy course, and I think that that's a pretty solid course. I mean, Jason does a really good job with that as well. Okay. Let's see. With the new sign language class in Academy 2 Basic for a child who already knows the alphabet and a few words in sign language, Jen, yeah, I don't think so. I think that she's teaching phrases. She teaches like how to do a song in sign language. So it's not just the letters. It's actually how you speak and communicate with sign language. So I don't necessarily think that I think it would be, she'd have an advantage, but I don't think she would be losing. Let's see, Summer said you can look at the vocabulary words each week and then there's a song. So they're going to learn more. In the videos that I watched, she was communicating. It wasn't like just doing letters or spelling out words with letters. So am I right, Summer? That's awesome. I got everybody here as support today. That's good because these questions are difficult. When will Spanish be released in the Academy? What in general will the format be? I did answer that a little bit. Spanish will probably be in 2022. any talk of a ukulele or piano class. A ukulele course is something we've actually talked about, and a piano class. I don't have either one of those under contract, but we are in discussions for both, and I'm kind of excited about both. The piano class, we're looking at actually doing two versions. One would be a play-by-ear method, and the other would be a classical approach to reading music, so that parents could choose which track they wanted for their student. So, Michelle, will there be an art course for K through third grade level? Right now, there's nothing on the books for that, Michelle. Thankfully, Kristen is here, and so I don't know if Kristen has anybody who has offered any proposals for that, but that's a great one. Okay, homeschooling for him. Most universities require a 4-year of high school math. Is there another course in the works? And if so, rough estimate when it'll be available. My oldest is in 9th. Well, I have a bit of time. It's not much. Right now we have the 3 levels of math, and we are looking for either a consumer or entrepreneurial math, or I know we're looking at some other we're reviewing a calculus proposal right now, so we don't have anything on the books yet for that, but we are looking for that. So if he's 9th, we have enough math for 10th, 11th, 2, that would be 3 years. My guess is we will probably have something in 3 years. If you do Jacob's, if you do the Jacob's algebra, the geometry, and then the algebra 2, you're not going to have any problem going into another math. It's not like each of the concepts that are taught in the high school math level courses, you would be able to transition easily between, especially because the quality of those courses, you could easily go into even college. In fact, what was proposed often was people would go and start dual enrollment with classes, and then they would be able to get the additional math credit for the high school. So, okay. Happy Seals, how do you know when you're giving your kids too much without expecting too much? We do the basic 4 subjects every day, plus math practice, spelling practice, music practice, independent reading and phys ed, foreign language, cursive copywork, typing twice a week, nature journaling, music theory. Most of those only take 5 to 10 minutes. I feel like all those things are important, but today I can tell my kids' brains need a break from thinking. How do I know if I should cut back? I think you just said it. You felt like they're doing almost too much and they're needing to shrink back. So go with that instinct. If there's something that said that you need to cut back a little bit, cut back on some of the things that aren't necessary. Do they need the math practice? Do they need the spelling practice? Independent reading, is there anything, are they reading things that they enjoy, or are you assigning things that they have to enjoy? Do they, I would say evaluate what are the key things that you want, and then judge from there and see. Sometimes we have to be careful not to impose. I'm not saying this is you, but I think sometimes as parents we have to be careful not to impose our insecurities onto our students as far as schoolwork goes. So we may feel like our kids need to be doing everything and I need to be doing all of that, as opposed to letting the student lead. And I just stole that from you, Kristen. Letting the student lead and set the tone of the amount of work they're doing. And I would assume these are younger students, especially, so you can make sure that you're not overwhelming them, that it's still fun. Let's see, Jill signing for you, elementary language, I find that, I address that. Candy, can I use Elements of Faith for the 6th grader next year? I want to use it with both my 6th and 9th graders. Yes, I think you could. If your 6th grader is showing signs that they're overwhelmed, then maybe you adjust just a little bit and don't require as much. but you shouldn't have a problem using it with both of those grades. Michelle, is there a way to use partial rewards? For example, I have 20, I want to use 10 next order and 10 for the day. I think you can use partial rewards. It doesn't, anybody who's in here watching that uses reward points, don't reward points allow you to put in how much, like you don't have to use the full amount. I think you can specify the amount of rewards you want to use. So at checkout, yes. Yeah, so at checkout you just specify, it should tell you how many rewards you have and then how many you want to use.